Oh boy, this is funny right here. CNN anchors go silent as Iranian activists turn against Democrats and liberals for attacking Trump. I'm telling you, people are slow waking up and realizing about these Democrats. But I've been telling y'all about them since day fucking one. Day fucking one. That's way back in 2000. Actually, I knew about them way before that. When I was little. Back in 1998. I've seen how the Democrats acting. And everybody else is finally waking up. I'm 34 years old. Well, that's 34 years of my life I knew Democrats were full of shit. Did not care about American people. And everybody's slowly fucking waking up. Which is too fucking late. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this, shall we?
Sure. I think allying with Israel is one of the most fascist and dangerous actions the U.S. can take.
Okay. And what makes that fascist versus allying with Iran?
Because Iran is a fascist. And you studying political ideologies, you understand what fascism is, and it is not Iran.
Meanwhile, I want to conclude this editorial with this message to the late Supreme Leader. پدر سگ خاک به سرت بسوز تو جهنم. Rowan.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Rita. James, don't you agree?
A little bit of gibberish, but
I don't have any time to that. The Iranian people, what are you hearing from them tonight? We know they're celebrating. What's the feeling?
It's an incredible dissonance that they had to choose war over a regime, but they were willing to do it. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, Benjamin Netanyahu. Thank you, America. It's not death to America after they killed the leader. The Americans and the Israelis did it. It's not death to Israel and death to America. It's thank you. It's a new day dawning, but very early days. Very, very early days. So we'll have to see what comes. But it's the Iranian people that have been telling me over and over and over again, we want this. We're not regimists. We're not Islamic. I don't even say, oh my God, to my Iranian friends because they don't want God to be any part of this.
So we got to talk about the backlash that Democrats are currently getting for boohoo whining crying because of the fact that President Trump, along with Israel, decided to take out the dear supreme leader of Iran. Okay, you have Democrats who have taken to the mainstream liberal media to express their condolences for the Ayatollah, basically saying that, hey, he should have never been killed, that this attack was not justified, and that they are against the president essentially freeing the people of Iran. Take a look.
This morning, Ayatollah Khamenei led a regime that brutalized its own people, launched attacks around the world for almost 40 years. So is the president right to take him out?
No, you're right about the Ayatollah. He was a brutal dictator. This is a murderous regime. But at the same time, it posed no imminent threat of attack to the United States. They had not reconstituted their nuclear program, which the president just months ago said had been obliterated. They do not have ballistic missiles capable of hitting the United States. There was simply no basis to go in with this massive military campaign with the goal of regime change. And the concern here is that we have unleashed factors in the region now that we cannot control. If the Iranian people do rise up, as the president has called upon them to do, maybe they're successful. Maybe they get slaughtered in reliance on the president's implicit promise that we will be there to help them. Maybe the regime just takes a new form, an equally depraved regime, and then what have we accomplished? Maybe our service members are killed, as the president pointed out that risk, and I hope and pray they remain safe, both those that are carrying out the mission and those that are in bases in the region. But the president has made no case to the American people. He sought no authorization from Congress. We need to return ASAP and take up a vote on the War Powers Resolution Tim Kaine, Rand Paul, Senator Schumer, and I have introduced.
You have called for Congress to return to Washington and to vote on whether to try to essentially halt this military action. No war powers resolution has ever overcome a presidential veto. Why do you think you need to take one?
Well, nobody in this country is asking for war with Iran, just like months ago, no one in this country was asking for war with Venezuela. This president is intentionally tanking our economy. He's the most corrupt president in the history of our nation. And Americans want him to focus on the crises here at home. Instead, he is busy getting us involved in quagmires overseas that already are becoming deadly to American soldiers. This is a disaster. It is illegal. And the president is obligated under the Constitution to come to Congress and ask for an authorization of military force. He wouldn't get that authorization if he asked for it. Congress wouldn't vote to give him the permission to do it, but he's obligated to come to Congress.
The administration.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Now you have some Democrats, like for example, John Fetterman, coming out here and going off on Democrats and liberals who are against what the president did, right? The actions that the president took in order to take out the supreme leader and to take out a lot of the leadership within Iran. John Fetterman, again, is not happy with his party for going against what the president did.
And it's not necessary, honestly, though, the entire thing. It's really an empty gesture. There's not going to be any votes. But when you're not even breaking the war powers resolution, why are you even doing that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and also, let's also be clear. I'm tired of seeing people, go on social media and saying we can never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear bomb, and Israel always deserves insecurity, and they deserve to exist. Well, if you're not willing to do about it, then it must just be empty words.
Yeah.
Are you really? Does it matter? No, but when President Trump was willing to do the kinds of things that are necessary to provide those things. Now, if you really want to prevent Iran to acquire a nuclear bomb, he did try to negotiate with them. There has been treaties. There has been other negotiations that never worked. And they had 900 pounds of just below weapons grade weapons. So, here, do you really committed, or are you just going to drop empty tweets and just try to have it both ways and pretend that it really matters? So, and that's why I'm going to support that. As a Democrat, I know that's absolutely the right thing to do. And so for me right now, the world is better. And now China and Russia are now condemning that. China is buying the Iranian oil, and that's how Iran underwrites the proxies and that regime.
Yeah.
So, and they also, China is going to sell them their hypersonic missiles, that would be aimed right at American ships too.
Very important point ahead of the president's trip to Beijing, by the way. Senator.
How can't you celebrate that the Iranian leadership has been eliminated?
Yeah.
Doesn't that make the region more safe, more secure, more just, more free?
Yeah.
And now, of course, there's other things it's possible right now, but right now, why can't you just acknowledge that? I put that out on my social media.
Yes.
Look at the kind of people that are grieving that or now protesting that. Even on Columbia University, one of the student groups just announced on Twitter saying, "Death to America."
Wow.
It's just like, this is what I'm saying. Look at the kind of people that grieve for that garbage.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the point. And I'm going to be on that side. For me, as a Democrat, I think Democrats country over party.
Yeah.
What the base demands means nothing to me. What's the right thing and the right side of history is what happened with Epic Fury.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Okay, John Fetterman is going scorch earth on his colleagues in Congress and the Democrat Party base. He said, I don't give a damn about what the base wants, right? I am going to stand with the president when it comes to this situation, right? What he did, the decision to strike Iran. Strikes are still ongoing. It's still an ongoing thing. But John Fetterman is standing strong. He's saying he's not going to go along with the war powers vote that Democrats are trying to push, okay? Even though the president is doing what's within his authority. I believe he has 60 days before he has to go to Congress and say, hey, can we continue to do this? So John Fetterman is like, listen, what Democrats are doing right now is just, it's a game, right? It's political theater, right? He is saying, I'm going to stand with what I believe, regardless of the radical base of the Democrat Party and regardless of his colleagues who are basically tap dancing for the radical base of the Democrat Party. Because let's be real, behind closed doors, they all agree, right? They all agree with what the president did. Behind closed doors, they do, right? But they can't say it out loud because they're afraid, right? They're afraid of the far left extremists who are really, really, really upset with their dear leader, the supreme leader of Iran, getting smoked, right? So with that being said, while liberals cope and see that Democrats pretend like they're upset on national television, you have actual Iranians or people from Iran who are taking to mainstream liberal media to talk about the celebrations, and they're also going off on the Democrats for their support of the Islamic regime and being upset with what the president did. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Okay, we're talking about a nation that they are aware of the risk. And we are talking about the nation that have faced massacre. More than 32,000 people have been killed. And guess what? Immediately, they turned the mourning into a massive uprising against Ali Khamenei. So I am worried because I know that my people deserve to have a secular democracy to end this regime, but I want the U.S. government to be precise. I want the Israeli government to be precise, accurate, strategic, calculated, targeted military action against not only the military leaders, but also the political leaders should be removed. And let me just make it clear, this is the moment that Iranian people have been waiting for 47 years. The year actually when the same regime took American diplomats hostage. That strike should have been done 47 years ago. The West waited too long, but I think we need to welcome this because this is a war brought to the Islamic Republic by the warmonger regime. And I talk to people every single day. I have family there. I have nobody here. All my family, my beloved family, my friends, my brother, my mom, my dad, my sister, they all live in Iran. But now this is the moment if we want to reduce the risk. If we want to end endless war in the region, we have to end the Islamic Republic. The root cause of chaos, the root cause of misery, the root cause of mayhem. Look, my people have been suffering for 47 years. In America, yesterday I took to the streets. My sister.
See, the people of Iran didn't like the leader. They was afraid of him. They were been terrorized by him for 47 years. And we done something Bush couldn't do, Obama couldn't do, Bill Clinton couldn't do, or Biden couldn't do. Trump did something those four presidents combined could not do. Just like he stopped the war in Africa. Those four presidents couldn't do that. He did it. Trump was doing stuff these other presidents could have done, but didn't want to do. You see what I'm saying? I'm glad Trump got rid of this leader. I'm glad the leader got blown up. When I heard the leader of Iran got killed, I was like, yes, finally, one dictator down minutes ago that's threatened this country. A lot of brave American women died in Iran under those four presidents' jurisdictions. And all those four presidents could have done what Obama did. Those four presidents could have done what Trump did. But he did what they couldn't do. It's in that piece of shit. He took him out. Because if we did not take him out, Israel would be taken out, then we would have been next. Because he always praised death to America, death to America, death to America, death to America. For 4 years he had those four presidents in there. He was chanting that, and they didn't do shit about it. Why? Because they was giving him money. Bush was giving money to him. Obama was giving money to him. Bill Clinton. Hold on, let's say that. Bill Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden. They was giving Iran money. Not to do stupid shit. What happened? They used that as weapons to kill American soldiers with. Trump gave them something, but not money. Gave them 42 B-1 bombers, bombs on their asses. Dropped bombs from 4 B-2 bomber planes. Back to back. Same thing with Israel. They gave him a one-way ticket to hell where he belongs. I know a lot of people ain't gonna like that, but fuck what they gotta say. Back to the video.
Of every single Americans, because I was heartbroken when I saw Mamdani, the Mayor Mamdani's tweet sympathizing with the Islamic Republic. No single word condemning the massacre. I took to the New York. I said, this beautiful city, New York, saved my life. New York is my city. I need to hug my people. I need to talk to them. Left people, right people, Trump supporters, but the Democrats, they all hug me. When it comes to support the lives of innocent people, America is united. The time has come for politicians, Republicans, Democrats to be united for human rights, for global security.
Well, on that, Moj, the American political leaders are not united. You heard Masih talk about the tweet from the New York mayor. A lot of Democrats are calling this an illegal war. What do they not get that you want them to understand about the way that the people in Iran feel?
I think that it is imperative the Democratic Party wake up and get past their dislike of Donald Trump, the President Trump, and their feelings of international conflicts going on. This is about national security. This is about what is possible in the Middle East. This is about being a good neighbor, good partner to the Gulf states and what their aspirations are. This is about supporting the people of Venezuela. This is about dismembering our relationship with, or not dismembering, but resetting our relationship with China. Right now, 55% of the oil production that Iran produces goes to China despite sanctions. You want to support the people of Ukraine? You want to end that war? You have to. There is no getting around dismembering this Islamic Republic. It is non-negotiable. It is not a want to have. It is a have to have. And it's not just for the Iranian people. I think you have to trust the Iranian people. We know this government better than anyone else. When you dismember and decapitate this regime, you are going to see a change in the Middle East, in Venezuela, in China, in Ukraine. And I think, quite frankly, their ideology has really, it's caused a lot of problems for us worldwide. We need to take it seriously. And I think at this point, we have a tremendous opportunity. This will be like ending the Soviet Union, the Berlin Wall. This is a transformational moment for humankind, for security, and as an American, this is in our interest to complete it. So I am a Democrat. I have been a huge Democrat. I am incredibly disappointed with my party. I do not see myself in them in this moment.
Wow.
Moj and Masih, thank you both for being here. Masih, get some rest on that throat.
Wow. So what you have here is some internal conflict, right? Everybody wants to talk about MAGA. MAGA's turning on Trump. MAGA's not turning on Trump, right? I think a vast majority of MAGA understand that, some of these operations are necessary, right? And when it comes to making America great or keeping America great or whatever you want to call it, that means that we still need to be a globally dominant force, right? That doesn't mean that we should retreat on the world stage when it comes to defending our interests. Now, we have not launched a ground invasion of Iran. As far as I know, earlier this morning, there were reports that unfortunately we have lost a few American servicemen due to the conflict. That is very unfortunate. That is very tragic. Okay, but it is something that President Trump warned about, that it was a possibility that was going to happen, and unfortunately, it has happened. Regardless, what you're seeing here in the United States of America is one political party, the Democrat Party, basically showing that their Trump derangement is what trumps all of the things that they claim that they believe in, right? They claim they believe in human rights. They believe in democracy, freedom, women's rights, all these things, right? That, let's be honest, okay? Overthrowing the Iranian regime, whether you agree with it or not, right? I mean, the goal, what they want is all the things that Democrats claim they believe in, right? But yet, for whatever reason in this situation, they're upset, right? They're boo-hoo whining, crying about these people getting the opportunity to get what Democrats claim that they want, right? Because they hate Trump. Same thing happened in Venezuela, okay? Democrats, they all agreed with what President Trump did. They didn't have the cojones to do it. But because Trump did it, because he actually had the cojones to capture Nicolas Maduro, they came out here and they attacked the president because they didn't want to get attacked from the far left base of radicals who all of a sudden love authoritarians, right? They love authoritarians as long as it's a socialist, right? If it's a socialist, authoritarian dictator, right? They love that guy, right? But apparently in the United States, though, they hate Trump, who's an authoritarian fascist, okay? They hate that, but they love the authoritarian socialist. So Democrats, because they're lapdogs now for the far left, right? They came out here and did their little tap dance, talking about how they don't support something that, again, they clearly do support. Again, behind closed doors, they definitely support it because that is what the Democrat Party is nowadays, right? That's where they only respond to the far left and Trump. And what the far left responds to is just hatred of Trump. So at this point, the Democrats are just against Trump. That's it, right? That's the only core principle that they have. And again, people are picking up on this. Venezuelans, after Maduro was captured, they were like, what the hell, Democrats? Why are you upset about this, right? Why are liberals upset about this? Why are progressives upset about this? We like the fact that we're getting freedom, right? We like the fact that this guy was captured. Same thing that's happening with the Iranians, right? The Iranians are saying, what the hell, Democrats, right? You guys upset because we're getting an opportunity at freedom because you hate Trump? You hate Trump more than you love the so-called values that you claim that you believe in. And yes, that is true, right? That is exactly true. Democrats don't stand for anything against Trump. That State of the Union address is coming back. It's showing you that that really is the only operating principle for the Democrat Party at this point. And that's why you have these people who are Democrats, who are basically upset with Democrats and their response to all of this. But, you know, hey, maybe these people should learn you shouldn't support Democrats, right? You're only supporting a party that just hates